Hi guys, welcome to Work In Work Out. My name's Charles and welcome back. As you can see, today is International Chest Day. Well, at least it is when I'm wearing this t-shirt. So I'm going to do my bench workout and have a look, see how I do it. So I'm going to take you through the different stages. I'm going to start off with working out with bands. For the warm-up, I'm going to do my warm-up with bands. Then I'm going to get onto the bar, and then if we've got some time, I'm going to get in some more bench press, but instead of using the bar, I'm going to use dumbbells. If you're interested in bands, if you're interested in bars or dumbbells to do your bench press, then do check out the details in the description below. I'll leave some links in there for you to get yours. But let's get right into some chest. So we're going to start off with some bands. Just before we do, if you find the video interesting, then please do quickly just click like. It does help the channel out and I really appreciate it. Do share the video if you know anyone else that's working on their chest on International Bench Day, and do subscribe and ring the bell for notifications so you never miss any new exciting content. Right, okay, so with that out of the way, so I've got my band here. As you can see, it's quite a thin, narrow band. As I've said in previous videos that you can check out on the channel, the lighter the band, the more versatile it is. I'm not saying you should go for the weakest one. I mean, there is some resistance to this, but if you go too thick, then it's going to be hard to do some workouts. And what I find is bands are really good for warm-ups. So what I'm going to do here is just put my hand in either side, rotate it over to my back, like this. Then I'm going to lean on my back, and then I'm just going to mimic the bench motion. This is just to get the muscles working and get my body used to the motion so that the joints will become slightly more supple, the blood will get flowing. And as the workout increases with the bands and beyond, when I move on to some more heavier weights, you're going to feel in your body the synovial fluid getting around all of the joints and the muscles so that you don't get any injuries. So that's why we're warming up. So no really predefined number. You do want to feel some resistance. So I'm feeling some resistance in these bands. This is just to get the muscle contracting, just to get the body slightly warm. Typically when I'm working out, I do either sets of 2 and then I move up a weight, or I do sets of 3. So that the video is not too long, I'll just keep it to sets of 2 for you guys. So that's the first bit of the warm-up. Rotate the band back again onto the back. Down we go. And push through. Arms just a little bit wider than my shoulders, pretty much shoulder width even. Thereabouts, up and down. To get a really good bench, ideally you want to explode up, get those fast twitch muscles going, be within that power range, and then slowly on the way down. So we finished with the bands, so time to move on. So what I like to do is I like to start with the bar. If you're using an Olympic bar is going to be 20 kgs. This bar here is 10 kgs. So when I'm in a gym, a commercial gym, 20 kgs going up is okay for a starter weight. This one's half that amount, but instead of adding weight to this, I just use the bar still on its own, and then I add weights to that and go up that way. So let's get into that. I look out for the knurling. I find the knurling. I place my thumbs at the start of where knurling is on this particular bar, because it might be placed in different areas, the knurling that is, on different bars. I put my thumbs there, then I wrap my hands around the bar, then retract my thumbs, and that tends to be a grip that works well for me. I don't like to go too narrow and I don't like to go too wide. On this particular setup, as you can see, I'm slightly limited by where these posts are, these support posts are anyway, but for me, it's typically thumbs, length, grab the bar, retract the thumbs, and then let's go. I have my eyes in line with the bar. Sometimes I find myself being a bit behind the bar this way. So what I do is I might shuffle down a little bit, plant my feet into the ground because you can use your feet to drive, and arch your back. I haven't got the greatest back arch, but it does help to drive the feet into the ground, and you can transfer that tension into the bar, especially when you go heavy. But at this point, we're just doing the warm-up. So I'll typically do maybe about 20. At this point, I start to hear cracks and pops, just as my arm starts to sort of loosen up and the blood's flowing around the system. So this is just for movement. I'll typically take a little break, and then on the second warm up with the bar, I'll maybe work on my form a little bit. So I'll show you that just now. So arm grip as before, make sure my eyes are underneath the bar. Then as I raise that bar off, I'll come down slowly and then go up quickly. Now that particular drill becomes a lot better when there's actually weight on the bar. So that's just a warm up, just to get my body warm. But as you add weight, it doesn't have to be a heavy weight. Obviously you get more out of it when it's a heavy weight, but just to be safe, if you do it with a fairly low weight for you, because it's different for people with different body types, different tolerances, different experiences, in terms of how far they are along their fitness journey and how much strength they've got. But if you do it on your lower range, you get some good training for when you get back towards the higher range, basically. But it's harder to do that exercise with the higher weights because you're just trying to get the weight up, right? So you press it when it's a relatively low weight. So from this point, I've done my bar. I'll start off with 10s. So like I said, the bar's 10. We've got some 10 plates here. So 10 either side, that makes 30 together. Now there's a great website that I recommend for you, called strengthlevel.com. That's strengthlevel.com. I'll either leave it in the description box below for you to check out, or I'll post it somewhere, maybe here or here. And that lets you know how you're basically progressing. I believe you can track some of your details there. For example, if you weigh 60 kg and you're pressing 90 kg, you're probably going to be an advanced bench lifter, and it gives you a scale and a body weight sort of ratio in terms of weight to strength ratio in terms of how much you're pushing, and it's a great website just to see how you're doing on all your different exercises: bench presses, squats, deadlifts, barbell curls, you name them, it's got it listed there, even pull-ups and chin-ups and things like that. So do check it out, strengthlevel.com. It's one of my favourite websites to just reference to see how I'm progressing, and it's got categories like beginner, novice, intermediate. Intermediate was quite hard to get to for me anyway. Advanced, and then elite, which is probably like your Olympic and professionals in a particular sport of fitness. Right, let's get into this one.
being careful to keep the elbows tucked in. Sometimes my elbows flare out, but you always have to be thinking about your form. So try to keep your elbows tucked in and try and push the bar from your chest. You don't want to end up coming too high so you're by your chin, and you don't want to come too low because then the bar and the weight is away from the center of where you're able to push most optimally, which is basically around about your solar plexus, which is in the middle of your chest. So I'll just replace that bar. Now just to remind you guys, that's my first set, but just to remind you, that's safety first. I never go too heavy without a spotter, so it's really important that you have a spotter when you start to go heavy. If it's a lightweight that you're very comfortable with and you've got no injuries, then by all means do continue, whether you're at home or in an outdoor gym or commercial gym. But do have a spotter in case anything goes wrong. But on light weights, if you can deal with it, fine, continue. Right, let's get the second set in. As you can see, certainly for myself, I like to do up to about, if I've got the bar or band, I might do reps of 20. If I've got what I call a fairly light weight, I'll do reps of 10. Then as it gets heavier, I only tend to go up to about 5 reps. The reason for that is I keep it in the strength range. If you're going for endurance and fitness like that, then you'll do higher reps. I like to go for the strength range because I'm really trying to build my power. So as I get up to the weights that challenge me a bit more, then I'll tend to do five sets, and basically the higher I go, the less reps I do, and that's basically mechanically how it works. If you're pushing a 1 rep max, it's called 1 rep max for a reason. You can only get 1 out. On this weight I can get out a lot more, but I tend to keep it at 10. Then as I progress, I reduce it down to about 5 towards sort of like middle to top end of my range. So when I get really high, it's 1s and 2s, and numbers like that. Right, so that's 2 sets of 10. Let's move it up. I'm going to put on 20 on each side. So that'll be 20, 20, 40 plus the bar 50. Let's do that. That was close. Try everything set up nicely. Okay, weight secure, and on the other side, the weight secure. Right, that was 50 kgs. I did 10. Just for me, that's still relatively manageable weight. Just for those of you that want to check, I weigh 78 kilograms. So for me, in terms of where I'm on my journey, 50 is still relatively okay for me to do. So I'll do 10 of that. When I go to the next weight up, I might maybe lower the number. So I leave, and here's a good strategy for you guys. So I leave enough energy in the tank to be able to do some of the higher numbers.
what I've often found is when I'm working out, if I go really hard on the low numbers and also if I use small jumps in between the weights that I'm going up, by the time I get to the higher numbers, I'm burnt out and I can't do them, and I go home thinking I can't do those weights. But on another day, I'll come in and I won't go so hard on the lower weights, and I'm able to actually do more reps on the higher weights. And I think that's the more smarter way to do it. So I've learned a little bit that way. So in that respect, as I said, when I go up, I'll be doing a lower rep range. Okay, so that's the first set. Another tip as well is you can do pauses. So you can Mississippi or 1000 are different terms you can use. You can do your bench press and say, hold it at your chest. So you do your outward motion, your push motion, you hold it at your chest, 1000, 2000, 3000 and up. Or you can go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi and up. And that builds great sort of isometric static hold strength. Let's have a go at that one on this set, just to demonstrate what I mean. One Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Now it's easier to hold the bar at the top of the range, so that's less impressive. So it's harder to hold it down here, because up here you're locked out. So you do your count: 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, up. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Explode out. Slow down. Slow it down so you're controlling the bar on the way down. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Up. Control it on the way down. Keep your elbows in. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Up. Control it on the way down. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. And let's rack that one. So that's an interesting way to get in a slightly different way of doing your bench and to vary it up a little bit. So let's move up the weight again. So here we've got 50, I'm just going to add 10s. Right, I'm just going to do 5 reps now that we're getting to slightly higher weights, to around 70 kgs. I'm arching my back, I'm driving my feet into the ground, my eyes are to the bar, same grip. Quick 5 there. Maybe I could have gone to 10. I want to leave a little bit in the tank when I get to those really heavy weights where I know I'll be struggling. Keeping supple. Have a break that's comfortable for you. Maybe go and get a drink of water. Listen to some music. Have a countdown on your phone of 30 seconds or a minute, 2 minutes, whatever it may be. Get back into it. Obviously, the shorter your breaks, the more higher intense your workout is. Okay, that was 5 or 6. Like I said, I weigh 78 kgs. That's 70. It's just around about my body weight. Now at this point, what I used to do
whereas I'd go from 70, then I go up to 90. But I've had a barrier for a while, that barrier being 100. And what I found is I was doing a workout at 90 and then trying to get to 95 and find that really difficult. And when I got to 100, I can only ever do one. And I'm still kind of in 100 range. But what I found is that once I get to 70, instead of doing 90, I should do 95. And then, you know, you don't want to be on your 1 rep max necessarily, but if you do your 1 rep max, when you get to it, you know, you'll just obviously have breaks in between and maybe do 3, 4, 5 sets of 1 rep max. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll then come down the ladder. But today, I do want to get into some dumbbells a little bit. So we're going to go to let's do 90. We'll do 90. I like to feel the weight as I'm holding it. That does sap a bit of energy, but I need to get used to it. Okay, we've got 5 in there. Not sure if you can see the sweat coming down my brow, but like I said, I do low numbers on the higher rep ranges, so we're now above my body weight. And we're keeping in the rep range weight. We're not going too heavy, so it's just 1 at the moment. So just trying to get my breath. And we'll go back in just a second. Let's go. When I get to the higher weights, I often feel the strain on my wrists. So that's why I like to hold the bar at the top there when I take it off, just to get my hand used to the actual weight of the bar. I've actually got fairly weak wrists, hence that I use gloves that give a good support around the wrist. So I wrap my wrists up just to give that additional support. Also, if my wrist is not going to be able to take the weight, then I don't want to immediately go for the rep and then try and push up and my wrist gives way. That's never happened, but I'm always very cautious. So I usually hold weight at the top just to kind of check the strength and flexibility of my wrist. When I know it's okay, then I proceed with my reps. If I've been already warmed up, then that's less of a concern, but when I go for the initial rep on what I feel is a heavy weight, depending on how my wrists are feeling, particularly this one's a bit weaker than this one, then I do have to check it out. Sometimes restrap. These are great. RDX gloves. I know I go to the gym, some guys don't use gloves, good for them. I love gloves. It keeps the calluses protected on my hands, so I use my gloves for my pull-ups and things like that as well. It also means that my grip circumference is actually a tiny bit bigger, so therefore I have to use slightly more grip, be it on a barbell, a dumbbell, or a pull-up bar. Then the third benefit that I love is the fact that these ones with the straps can actually really support the wrists. If you're interested in gloves, because you think the benefits that I've just outlined can help you, then I'll leave a link in the description below for you to get your gloves. These ones are RDXs, other gloves are available, but I'll leave a link for you to have a look. Let's get the other set. I'm driving my feet into the ground, checking the pressure as I push my hands in. I'm squeezing my scapula, my shoulder blades. I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together. One good tip that I saw made by, I think it was Eddie Hall actually. He says, if you want to get, and he was talking to Julius Maddox, some of you might know who that is, the world record holder for the bench press. But these two were talking to each other, and they said, if you want to get, so it's Alex's saying that's been out there, if you want to get a big chest, get a big back. So your back muscles do have a lot to do with your pushing and certainly pulling motions. And the bench press has got a little bit of this too. So one thing you should think about sometimes is contracting the shoulder blades as you're controlling the weight down, and then you can use that bent up and pent up energy to then help you release on the way out. It's a more robust way of doing your bench press as opposed to just bringing the weight down quickly and bouncing it off your chest. You're going to get less from that. Whereas if you, like a spring, if you bring that energy into your back, if you can see here at the side, and then use that tensed energy to make you push back out. Let's go. Second set, 90 kg. That's 5 for my power range. Now that the chest is warm, I'm just going to do a quick blast, 1 set on the dumbbells, because I did promise you dumbbells. So I'll do a quick set on that. Then what I'll do is I'll actually do a special video for dumbbells. Next time I'll do one dedicated just to dumbbells, because as a lot of you may know, dumbbells do work your chest in a slightly different way than a barbell bench press. So with the dumbbells, you're able to squeeze at the top of the push, and that works the inside of the chest a little bit more, and it also recruits, or you have to recruit, stabilizer muscles just to hold the dumbbells, because you've got a wider free range of motion. You're not restricted to the plane of the bar alone. So dumbbells do work out in a different way. And what I've found as well is if I do just dumbbell bench press and then I go back to barbell bench press, I struggle with the barbell bench press. And vice versa. If I do just barbell bench press across just a single plane of motion across that bar, then I come back to the dumbbell bench press. My dumbbell bench press is all over the place. I'm trying to stabilize that bar and I'm struggling. So it is good to train both barbell bench press and dumbbell bench press. Not always at the same time. If you're doing chest day, maybe you can do some, some flies and different things for your chest. But do make sure that you incorporate both barbell and dumbbell bench press into your set. With that said, let's get these up. These are 40 kg dumbbells. I'm comfortable doing them because I've just gone up to 90 kg. Now 40 at 40 equals 80. But what you'll find, and what I certainly find, is I can go heavier on a barbell than I can when I've got free weights using dumbbell bench press. And if you check out that website, strengthlevel.com, you'll see that the factual data that's come through for a number of different lifters from all around the world kind of supports that claim that you go a little bit percent stronger on your barbell bench press. For example, if you use a Smith machine, you'll probably be able to go slightly higher on a bench press on that as well. So there are these subtle differences. But let's get this up, and then that'll be it for today's chest. So with these, they're quite heavy, so I deadlift them off the floor, sort of, just to get them up. Now, obviously you want to bend the knees and not do yourself an injury. I get them up onto my knees, I sit down, slide forward, then I actually slide the dumbbells as close to my midsection as possible. The reason I do that is I can then put my chest on them, so as I recline, the dumbbells are in a better position for me then to be able to raise them out of a stationary position when I'm lying on the bench. If they're too far forward, it's going to be hard to make that transition for me at this sort of weight. Okay. There they're on my chest. And I move back to the side, drive my feet into the floor, and press up. one hand is probably stronger than the other. There we go, and then we can squeeze at the top of the motion, and then down. And then up, squeeze at the top, and then down. And then up, was that 3? 4, 1 for the road. There we go. 5. Slowly on the way down. Try not to break the floor. And that's me done. If you enjoyed today's video, then do leave a thumbs up. It really does help out the channel and helps it grow. Do share, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications so you get notified when new content comes out. I really do appreciate you joining me today on this day of International Chest Day, or whenever I wear the bench t-shirt, it is International Chest Day. And thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time. You can also check me out on Instagram, actually, on Working Workout TV. That's Working Workout TV on Instagram for some exciting content there as well. See you next time.